There we go. Everyone enters muted, um, and you can leave your camera on if you like. We keep the microphones muted so that we don't get a lot of feedback or outside noise. Um, I'm going to wait just a couple minutes to see if we have anyone else joining us, but we are live on Facebook. And I need to turn my sound down. I do monitor on my phone in case we have questions. Well, I did indicate to our participants today that they can join at any time this afternoon, that they don't have to be present right when we start. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'd like to welcome everyone today. Happy International Snow Leopard Day 2021. I'm so glad that you could join us. My guest hosts for this afternoon are Marcia Sivek of BeProvided Conservation Radio and Margaret Gee, the Snow Leopard Conservancy's Australian Snow Leopard Ambassador and longtime literary agent and editor. All-time good friend to the Snow Leopard. I am going to share today. I think I will be able to get the sound to work. Last night I had a little problem with my sound. Marcia, I did finally figure it out.
I was going to say you should introduce yourself and tell us who you are with the Snow Leopard Conservancy.
You know, it's so funny. I've done so many cat chats this summer and fall that I forget that maybe some people don't know who I am. But thank you for reminding me. Yeah. My cold has kind of dulled my senses, including my brain today. I'm Shavaun Kidd. I am the outreach manager for the Snow Leopard Conservancy, and I was the editor for the book Searching for the Snow Leopard. Today is International Snow Leopard Day, and a lot of people wonder, you know, is this just a Hallmark holiday? How did they come up with this? Well, oops.
I was like, there I am.
I was supposed to show, yes, there's Marcia and Margaret. Those are beautiful pictures, ladies.
Thank you. A couple of years ago for me, for sure.
I've got to get some old Snow Leopard gear.
There is an organization called the GSLEP, or the Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Protection Program. It was founded by the 12 snow leopard range countries, and I won't name them all because of my laryngitis, but you can find them on our website. And they all got together in Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, or the Kyrgyz Republic, in October of 2013. They met to form an alliance to conserve the snow leopard landscapes across their 12 countries. And they were forestry ministers and dignitaries from the countries, and scientists and conservationists and cultural practitioners, and anyone who was interested in conserving this landscape, the snow leopard and all of its prey species. Excuse me. And they wrote what was called the Bishkek Declaration. Now, you can find a portion of that document on our website. You can also find it on the Global Snow Leopard Ecosystem Protection Program website. And it's rather long, but in it they pledge to look after the snow leopard and how they're going to do that. The final paragraph reads, by the adoption of this, the Bishkek Declaration, the snow leopard range countries pledge to ensure that snow leopards and the people who live among them thrive in healthy ecosystems that contribute to the prosperity and well-being of our countries and the planet. I have a lovely video that was created by photographer Tashi Ghali from Nepal that he played at the first G-Slep forum. And last night I played it, and for some reason I didn't have sound, but today we should have sound. You know, the snow leopard is the least well known of all the big cats. And a lot of these ministers from these countries weren't even acquainted with what the snow leopard was, you know, or who it was. So I'm going to play this beautiful short video that Tashi created for the G-Slep forum. Oh, there we go. That is Margaret, and she is holding the wonderful book, Searching for the Snow Leopard, that I had the honor of working with wildlife photographers and a researcher and, from around the world on for the benefit of snow leopard conservation. And this little book was Margaret's idea. And Margaret, would you like to tell us all a little bit about yourself, how you came to be in literature, and where you got this idea to even write a book about snow leopards?
Well, I started out as a journalist in Melbourne, which is a southern city in Australia, and I enjoyed journalism, but I wanted to have more of an academic life, and I had got a scholarship to go to university in Melbourne. So I took a sort of a summer job at a publishing house. A friend of mine was having a biography published about quite a left-wing politician. And I just liked the house, the publishing house. It was very funky, edgy. They published a lot of poets. They didn't have any money. it was just the first day I was there, they once published a collection of poetry as a tablecloth. You know, they were really crazy people. A couple of guys who started it sort of dropouts from university, and they've gone on to interesting careers in publishing themselves. And I just thought, wow, I didn't sort of know that you could have publishing as a career. When I grew up in the country, it was like be a nurse, be a teacher. My mother thought it would be very nice for me to be a hairdresser. Said I'd meet lots of interesting people. Well, that's true, but anyway, so I just tumbled into publishing. I didn't go back to university. And then after working as a publisher for a long time, I started working as a literary agent, which means I'm in the middle person, you know, pitching books to publishing houses. And I've just found it very satisfying. And then I got more and more interested as I traveled very extensively to the Himalayas. My twin sister started a Himalayan trekking company with her then partner, and it's really kick-started adventure travel in Australia, and the company's still going today. So I went to the Himalayas, and when I first went to Nepal, I loved it immediately. But when I started trekking, you know, which is very hard, even then I was fit, I'm still quite fit. And I thought, what's the big deal? Why is everyone so enamored of the Himalayas? Because I was sort of looking like that, and someone said, look up. And then I went like that. And you see these mountains dropping from the sky like big ice cream cones. And it was like this epiphany. And then I got very interested in the Sherpa cultures and everything. And then again, I'd seen a friend's work, photographs of Bhutan, which is the Eastern Himalayas, of course. And it just seemed even more exotic, very sparsely populated, a bit of a hermit kingdom. When I went there, I thought, this is my heart song, heartland place. I fell in love with it. Then I was becoming very interested in Buddhism, even though I know it's very hard to see a snow leopard. Anyway, getting back to the chase, I felt I tried very hard. I actually felt I was a complete failure as an ambassador for the Snow Leopard Conservancy, because I was trying to raise money, and it is so hard to get money out of people. I just thought everyone's going to love these photographs of snow leopards and they're going to empty their wallets. Well, they didn't. And I was heartbroken, and I felt like a real fake working for the company. I thought, what do I know? How can I help them? I thought, I know publishing, I know books. So the idea, it was like Spot the Snow Leopard thing as a children's book idea, but I knew it could have universal appeal across all ages. And in fact, Shavaun is very modest and humble. This book wouldn't have happened without her, because she then germinated the book into what it is today, really an adult book across the entire spectrum. And she just worked tirelessly at a time when I probably would have just almost given up. It was a real trial finding a publisher. I thought this is going to be so easy. I still won't be earning my bickies not that I get paid. I won't be earning my biscuits at SLC. And no one wanted to do it. It was, oh, we love snow leopards. That's my favorite animal. Oh, no, sorry, we can't do that book. It's not commercial enough. It won't make money. And I thought, you're the fraud. You don't really care about wildlife. It's just making money when you're doing all these other rubbish romance books and that could subsidize a book like this for the benefit of wildlife and humanity. And it just wasn't happening. And finally, almost our last pitch into a publisher, it was Cal Barksdale at Skyhorse. He said, I just love this. And I think we all just wept with joy. And it finally, it must have been, Shavaun, only 5 years of heartbreak.
Wow.
Felt like five. And it happened. But Shavaun was on it from the get-go. She's still on it. And her editing, I mean, the editing process would have broken most people, but not Shavaun. Because we had another publisher. So this is like round 10. And
we went a whole year with another publisher who didn't get it, that it was an anthropological work, who wanted to cut any reference to culture and spiritual out. And that's not the point of the book.
I know.
It's not a reference
Yeah,
book.
that wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
No, and when Cal first spoke to me, he's like, yeah, I get it. Peter Matheson. I know all about that. And I was like, wow, this is...
He's the one. And it was just such a revelation. But any book is a lot of, and this is a complex book because it's so layered in terms of the message you're trying to get across. And of course, we're dealing with wildlife photographers from all over the world.
Well, I have to give Margaret, I have to give an awful lot of credit to Bjorn Pearson. He's from
absolutely.
Sweden. He's a photographer. He's very active conservationist. His main
whole
focus
life
is Africa, but of course, snow leopard was on his bucket list. And when I reached out to him to ask him for help with the text, he said, you know what, Shavaun, nothing against, the captive photos, but let's make it all manually taken, wild snow leopards, and, narrow our focus. And that was where we went. And he sent me little snippets of text, and it was miraculous just how magical, how it just fell right in, and his text and mine just blended together. I didn't even have to think about it. And this was my first book. And Cal was very kind to me. He knew I was a rookie. So, but then we got to copy editing, and yes, that's very grueling. You have to stand up for what you believe with a copy editor. They want to slash and burn. But I think the book is a triumph for the snow leopard. It's a triumph for all those people who work so hard in the field, all the people who live there, the photographers who work so hard to bring us the story of these wild animals. They're conservationists. They're out there in the front, working right along with those guides and the people who live there.
And in quite treacherous conditions often, it can be life-threatening up there,
Lying down on the ground in front of a bull elephant, climbing Annapurna, it's just trudging through a swamp, getting stranded in the Amazon jungle. It doesn't matter where they go. They're on the front lines. And my hats are off to the photographers who don't get enough credit, I think, and the guides that take them for conservation, because they're the ones who bring faraway spaces to us at home, so that we care about them, and so that we do give money and support what's going on in the world.
And Shavaun, what was also so amazing to me, and I've worked with photographers and artists and that all my working life in publishing, which is over 40 years now, is just the lyricism, the poetry of the writing that the photographers, people sometimes compartmentalize, oh, that's pictures, that's words. There's this incredible magical blending of words and images, which, I mean, you just couldn't invent. Some of the writing is some of the best writing I've ever seen. And I know it was tweaked sometimes, but the kernel of the writing, the message, the emotion, the passion, just blew my mind.
I still get goosebumps and cry when I read passages from this book by the photographers and the researcher, Katie Duffy. She's an amazing writer. They're all amazing writers. And that's why I tell people, when you get the book, don't look at the pictures, read the essays and look at the pictures, because I put them together. They're paired together. They go together. It tells a story. It is a storybook. And it's not just, there's a lot of information in there, but it's not a textbook. It's a storybook about our relationship with these magnificent animals who we share our planet with. And it's our job to protect this earth, not only for them, but for us. We're living together. And the people who live in these parts of the world, their whole culture is wrapped up in nature. Nature and religion and culture is all the same thing for them. They're not separated like we are in the United States or, industrial nations. And I think the experience, don't you agree, Margaret, that when you go there, you're struck by how you are part of it? You're not cut off.
Wow, and you have incredible awe towards them, because they don't have a soft landing. Their lives are totally dictated by weather. I mean, we are too. Look at the wildfires in Australia, the wildfires in California. But it's a life and death situation up there for most of the year in terms of whether or not they get their herds in, their crops in, whatever. And they don't get bailed out by their governments usually if something terrible goes wrong. We are in such a bubble of comfort compared to most of those people. You know, when you go out and you stay in the farmhouses in Ladakh, you know, there's no indoor toilets usually, there's no running water in winter, they're melting snow just for drinking water. You know, we just take it for granted. We can get up and have a hot shower. That's just not possible out there in winter. In fact,
yeah, we cut down a tree.
So we're very spoiled.
We cut down a tree here this year in our yard that was damaged by a tornado last year and the derecho, and we were burning it. And I said to Rod, you know, people in the Asian mountains would kill for this firewood. They burn dung for heat. And I said, I wish I could get them all this wood. You know, they would love to have this wood, and we take it for granted. You know, it's so different.
And just our medical care, you know, there's not a lot of medical care out in those places, or they might have to drive several hours just to, you know, a medical emergency. That can
one of our partners, both his parents were infected with COVID, and they were very ill, and they had to be airlifted by a helicopter to Kathmandu. Wow. And they both recovered in the hospital in Kathmandu, but he and his brothers had to arrange for a helicopter to go get them. And I can't imagine, you know, we take so much for granted. And that's why I say that the work that these people do that live there, our partners in the field, the photographers, the guides, the people who open their homes to homestays, they should get all the credit. And that's what the Conservancy does when people donate money to us. It all goes to them. And we directly, you know, we give the money to them for coats and flashlights and batteries and fencing and you name it, predator deterrence. And we're very small, but we try to be very mighty, you know, and help.
Very focused.
But Margaret, your idea for the book has done, I'm sure, a lot. And so never think that you're an integral part of the Conservancy. And thank you so much. I do have a reading that I'm going to share today from the book, and it's recorded, so you don't have to listen to my scratchy voice. I am so sorry about my voice.
You shouldn't apologize for that.
Snow Leopard, guardian of the high mountains. Shrouded in the swirling snow, she magically appears, climbing effortlessly across the high ridge. Her presence is felt, even when not seen. The humans who have gone in search of her know they are not alone. She is there, watching, guarding, unseen, in her frozen realm of rock and snow. For those who go in search of the snow leopard, the expedition may hold unexpected discoveries. Though their goal is to observe and photograph one of the most elusive predators on the planet, they may also witness a magical transformation of the stark, frigid landscape to one of true beauty and experience the interconnectedness of nature and the human spirit. Bjorn Pearson describes his experience. Upon taking my first step into the Hemis National Park in India, I knew I was faced with a challenge like I had never experienced before. This world of inhospitable ice and rocks had no welcoming signs. The mountains greeted me with a snowstorm so severe I could hardly see more than a foot in front of me. The first few days were unbearable, and the sharp, slippery rocks were my worst enemy. Most frustrating of all, there was not one sign of a snow leopard. The long hours of waiting in the chilling wind wore away at me, but just as I was on the brink of giving up, something began to happen. I let go of my expectations. Instead of frantically looking for this iconic predator, I started to discover the beauty around me. I saw the sun reflecting in the snow, resembling a sea of diamonds. I began to appreciate the fresh northern wind against my face, and I realized that what I first thought was a freezing cold, lifeless hell was in truth a paradise. For those who go in search of the snow leopard, the expedition may hold unexpected discoveries. Though their goal is to observe and photograph one of the most elusive predators on the planet, they may also witness a magical transformation of the stark, frigid landscape to one of true beauty and experience the interconnectedness of nature and the human spirit.
Sorry about that. That's the doc.
Bjorn Pearson describes his. There we go. Katie Duffy describes what for her the experience of a snow leopard trek is like. Hiking in the footsteps of this elusive cat through remote, rugged terrain in unforgiving conditions, you get more of an appreciation for the persistence of this species. You become more in tune with what it takes to survive in one of the planet's harshest environments. It's a place that seems untouched by time, where nature reminds you just how mortal you are. The mountains expose your true self. There is no place for ego here and no place for hastiness. Everything happens in its own time. If the mountains wish to reveal their most sacred guardian to you, they will. Until then, all you can do is just be. A snow leopard trek doesn't always end in a sighting of a snow leopard. Sometimes all that is seen is a scrape or spray marking, or perhaps footprints in the snow. And though you may not have the privilege of seeing a snow leopard, you may hear them. I bent down to look at a pug mark in the powdery snow. The dryness of the climate had perfectly preserved each of the billions of snowflakes, allowing the individually unique icy stars to sparkle under the cloudless sky. Just as I was trying to estimate when the snow leopard had crossed this valley and observe which way it had headed, a chill ran up my spine at the sound of a piercing cry that echoed among the peaks. My teammate and I froze. The overwhelming silence of the land was replaced with the rapid thumping of my heart in my chest. One more time, the yowl reverberated into the valley. I stood, looking at my teammate in awe, with two words being trailed by a puffy cloud of my frozen breath and a huge grin on my face. Snow leopard. A snow leopard trek is difficult, given the cold, the altitude, and the terrain. But it is a test of the human character, one that calls for courage, patience, determination, and perhaps most significantly, humility. Imagine it's -4 degrees and the sun is starting to go down. For almost an hour, you've been lying dead still, observing the snow leopard making its way up the mountainside. Only about 200 feet away, it suddenly stops. Anxious not to be discovered, you hardly dare to breathe. Your frozen body is in pain, and ultimately you have no other choice than to change position. There is only the slightest sound of your movement, yet the snow leopard has reacted, your presence having been revealed. Glimmering in the approaching darkness, the snow leopard's icy blue eyes meet yours. Transfixed, you experience a silent communication with the great cat. For no more than a moment or two, it studies you, then turns away and moves on, having acknowledged the presence of its uninvited guest. One of the chapters toward the end of the book explores the legends and folklore surrounding the snow leopard and discusses the spiritual connection people have with this mysterious and awe-inspiring cat. The stories found in this chapter carry the powerful messages that although the snow leopard is of great ecological importance, what resonates with the local community members is its cultural and spiritual significance. Snow leopard conservationists work with community-based organizations within snow leopard range countries to incorporate these indigenous beliefs into a relevant conservation message. The Snow Leopard Conservancy's mission, which is one of advancing community-based stewardship of the snow leopard through education, research, and grassroots conservation action, is described in the final chapter of the book. I have this wonderful video from one of our spiritual elders in the Land of the Snow Leopard Network, an organization that we help to facilitate. It's made up of over 100 spiritual leaders, community members, teachers, shamans, people in the local communities who are interested in snow leopard conservation, reviving cultural and spiritual practices, teaching youth about the environment and through reviving of their culture. This is a wonderful legend from Kyrgyzstan about why we should protect the snow leopard.
Ойланайындар, тоо бийик тоолор. Ошо бийик тоол аймагында биз жашап келебиз. Бизден мурун да биздин бабаларыбыз жашап келген. Бул жерде бабаларыбыз жашап келген жерде ак илбис уялаган, кайберендер болгон, ыйык жаныбар болгон.
Кандай ыйык жаныбар?
Ол ыйык жаныбарлар кайберен, ак илбис, аю, билесин. Анын ичинде ыйык бугаларыбыз, бугуларыбыз бар. Ал ыйык бугу бир убакта ушундай адамзаттын улугу азайып баратканда ошо адамзатты сактап калган. Ойланайын балдарын, биздин кооз табиятыбыз бар, улуу тоолорубуз бар. Улуу тоолордун ичинде ыйык жаныбарыбыз бар, булактарыбыз бар. Биздин ата-бабалардын ыйык болгон бир уламыштарын айтып берейин.
Өткөн заманда жоокерчилик мезгилде кыргыздардын кыргыз деген атын жок кылгысы келген душмандар капысынан кол салды. Ошол убакта кичинекей бала менен кыз токойго кетишип, кайра үйүнө кайтып келсе, бүт уруу кырылып, бир да тирүү жан калбай калат. Ошондо кичинекей бала менен кыз үйүн таппай, жерин таппай, эмне кыларын билбей ыйлап турганда, мүйүздүү буг эне келип, аларды кучагына алып, мээрим төгүп, мен силердин эңеңермин деп, аларды багып алат. Ошондо ак калпактуу ала тоого, күмүштөй теңир тоого, ортосунда ысык көлү бар жерге алып барып, кыргыздын тукумун уулагыла деп, аларга насаатын айтат. Анда биз болсо бугуну сакташ керек турбайбы, аны коргош керек экен да.
Ооба кызым. Ошол бир эле ошол буг эмес, бизде ыйык жаныбарлардын баарын сакташыбыз керек.
Ак элбирс кыргыздар үчүн эзелтен ыйык жаныбар катары сыпатталып, кыргыз элинин, кыргыз баатырларынын колдоочусу болуп эсептелип келген. Ата-бабаларыбыз ак элбирсти жоготуп алсак, анда ала тообузду жоготуп ала тургандай нуска калтырган. Ал биздин тоолорубуздун пээ сыяктуу. Ак элбирс мөңгүдө жүрөт эмеспи? Ак элбирсти жоюп алсак, анда мөңгүнү да жое турган абалга келебиз. Ата, анда биз ак элбирске кантип жардамыбызды бериш керек? Кантип сакташ керекпиз аны?
Ооба кыздарым, ал ыйык жаныбарларды биз сактап калышыбыз керек.
Ар ким акылына, алына жараша акча табууга өтүп, элбирстин терисин миллиондогон доллар турат деген жалган ишеним менен кырып жок кылуучу аңчыларды жок кылуу. жана ошондой эле бул илгичтерди сактап коргоо.
Акырбирти коргон адам затына танытам.
О жараткан өзүңө сыйынып өзүңө тилек кылабыз. Айланайын бүгүн Ала Тоо жеринде, касиеттүү жеринде, ак көңүл Ала Тоо жергибизде ыйык жаныбарларыбызды сактап калайлык. Уул кыздарым, силердин келешегиңер кең болсун. Силер да ушул табиятка жакын болуп, табият менен бирге журулушуп, табиятка жакын болуп, жаныбарларды аяп, мээрим төгүп, алар менен бир болгула. Ошентип биздин кыргыз элибиз улуу эл болгон, улуу журт болгонбуз. Ошол касиеттүү жолду аркалап келгенбиз. Ак бата ак болсун, жолуна бата кут болсун. Амин.
I love those little snow leopards.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cute. Well, we've come to the point in our event today where we're going to learn how to draw snow leopards with Marcia, and she is going to, I'm going to make her a co-host, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about herself, her adventures as a volunteer at the Cheetah Conservation Fund, how she came to create BeProvided Conservation Radio, what that's been like. I think she's interviewed 100 different conservationists now. And we're going to learn how to draw snow leopards. So, and at some point she's going to be sharing her screen with us, and we're going to see how to draw the snow leopard. So take it away, Marcia.
Well, thank you, Shavaun. So should I just, because it's going to be hard for me to explain BeProvided while I'm trying to draw, so I'll just explain that first and then share my screen, if that's all right.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and tell us about how you came to be a volunteer at CCF, and then how about BeProvided.
Yeah, I'll try not to make it into a long story, but it might be. In 2015, I've always wanted to go to Africa on safari, and at that point I was really involved with elephant conservation. I was reading up on the Sheldrick wildlife, where they were rescuing the orphaned elephants, and I really wanted to go to Africa. So we planned this trip to Africa, my husband and I. So we had this magical kind of private trip on safari where we could take photographs and such. And I was so amazed. We had so many great experiences. I got to meet the orphaned elephants I've been reading about. I got to interact with them for 3 or 4 hours at the Sheldricks, and having the ones that I've adopted on paper come up and put their trunk into my face and rub my hair with their trunk. I was just like a bawling idiot in the middle of these elephants. It was so emotional. It was a great experience. So, but we also went to other places and we learned about cheetahs, we learned about lions. And I realized there's all these people working with these animals that we just don't know, we don't know about. And, you hear of the big places like Sheldricks and things like that, but, the people behind this. And when I got home from that trip, I was like, I wanted to start sharing those stories, but I didn't know how. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do a podcast, which is totally not me because I'm really shy and I don't like to hear my own voice talking to myself all the time. So anyways, I just, so I started putting it together. I started attending the Wildlife Conservation Network events that were held in person, which hopefully someday they will be again, up in San Francisco, where all these conservationists come together and talk about the work they're doing with these various animals. And this was like a year after, maybe 2016. I was there in the fall and I came to the cheetah table and I met Lori Marker from the Cheetah Conservation Fund. And she had this beautiful book with photographs that her and Susie Esterhaus put together about cheetahs. And I was like, man, what can I do? How can I, work with these beautiful animals? How can I contribute this and that? And she's like, just come over as a working guest. And, like 2 months later, I was in Namibia on my own for 3 weeks as a working guest with CCF and exploring Namibia a little bit. I took my microphone just thinking, well, maybe I'll get some interviews. I hooked up with the Giraffe Conservation Foundation and spent a day with them out tracking leopard and giraffe, and got to learn all about that. And I was able to interview them. So I just starting these stories. I started interviewing the people with CCF, the dog handlers, my only regret is that I didn't get a lot of the interns and some of the younger students there, but that gives me an opportunity to go back and do that. But anyways, I started formulating these stories, and when I came home, I created BeProvided Conservation Radio, and I just celebrated my 100th episode. I've interviewed close to 100 people. I've interviewed, Shavaun and I and Jack Wonderly did a live show, Rodney Jackson, Ashley from the Snow Leopard Conservancy. I just had a great time sharing, I just wanted to hear these stories, and I wanted the world to hear these stories of people working really hard to save our natural world. And it's blossomed into a lot of local conservation, or a lot of rehab, sharing work that rehabbers do. And it's just a passion project. I don't get any money for this. I spend a lot of time on it, but I love it. And I keep saying I'm too busy, I need to stop it. But then I'm so addicted to hearing about raptors in Michigan. So I have to, certainly talk to them about that. And I'm also getting now notice from publishers who are sending me information from authors writing books on animals. And I find sometimes conservationists are shy and they don't always want to talk about the work they're doing. Sometimes it is harder than you think to get a conservationist on the show. And I found that authors who have already interviewed these conservationists are really good at sharing these stories too about the animals or the climate change and things like that. And I think that also helps educate people. I know I'm rambling, but anyways, so I know Shavaun wanted me to talk about my theme, or if I've noticed a common thread throughout my interviews with people, and I've had 100 episodes, which I just put out last week. So the common thing is people. There's three kind of different segues to that. So I always ask in my podcasts, what are the challenges, what are the successes, and what gives you hope? And amazingly enough, the answer to all three of those questions are people. People are the challenges. We're invading some of these spaces that our animals live in. We need to learn how to work with them and to live with them in order for all of us to coexist. But then the successes are when this does happen, like Snow Leopard Conservancy is working with the land, the network of people in India, Nepal, and all those different countries, putting together, if you don't have the people in the community that are right there with that specific animal working together, you're not going to be that successful in saving it. I could say I want to save cheetahs and send money to them, but I'm not living where cheetahs are and where they're having some issues, maybe with farmers, and their livestock getting killed by cats and such. But yeah, so people, and when I always ask what gives me hope or what gives them hope, the answer is always people. because people inherently don't want to do bad. They need to learn. They want to learn how to do better. And people are willing to do that. People are resilient. So it's kind of funny, it's kind of, all three questions kind of surround about us taking care. We're the challenges, we're the success, and we're also the hope. So I always find that interesting. But anyways, I'm going to continue the project with the podcast as long as I can. And I hope people get a chance to listen to it at some point. As we're drawing, I was going to play a little 2-minute little segment I did with Jack Wonderly. I spoke with him after the Searching for the Snow Leopard book was published, and he shared some of his experiences with me. So I condensed it down to a little 2-minute segment to give just a little highlight of that. So I can either play that now or we can start drawing. I don't know how many of you want to draw. I'm not an art teacher by any means. Actually, my art teacher is here. She's making me nervous.
Why don't you go ahead, Marcia, and play go ahead and play that 2-minute soundbite, and then we can go ahead and start drawing.
Okay, let me get that open. I think I can just play it from my screen without sharing because it's just audio. So hopefully everybody can hear this. These sounds are rarely heard by humans. They are the mating calls of snow leopards in the wild. Not only are snow leopards rare to hear, they are rare to see. This does not stop scientists and photographers from seeking out one of the most elusive of the big cats that lives in some of the most inhospitable environments to humans. Many venture to the high altitudes of the Asian mountains of Mongolia, India, and Nepal just to see if this mythical creature really exists. Taking a quote from the new book, Searching for the Snow Leopard, "The humans who have gone in search of her know they are not alone. She is there, watching, guarding, unseen in her frozen realm of rock and snow." I am Marcia Sivek, and this is a nature short. And today we hear about one man's journey to the Himalayan mountains from Sonoma County, California. What does this mythical creature represent to him?
The snow leopard represents a precious part of us that is mysterious, maybe even a bit mystical. It's a part of us that holds a lot of power.
Jack Wonderly is a wildlife photographer who traveled to the Himalayan mountains with the Snow Leopard Conservancy to seek out and photograph his gray ghost. But as he found out, it was not easy. He endured minus 20-degree Fahrenheit nights in a tent.
I went into the trip knowing that there's a good chance I would not see a snow leopard. We'd seen a few tracks, but that was it. After all of the travel and the difficult conditions was certainly taking the wind out of my sail.
Then his luck changed.
On the 8th day, I got my first glimpse of a snow leopard. I was teary-eyed, to be sure. The snow leopard encounter was by far my most challenging, personal, and rewarding wildlife encounter I've had.
Would he take the risk of going back again?
So I actually intend to go back, hoping that she will appear for me again.
I am Marcia Sivek, and this is a nature short produced by BeProvided Conservation Radio. Snow Leopard audio was donated by the Snow Leopard Conservancy, and our theme music is Blossoming by Poddington Bear at freemusicarchive.org.
Yeah. And you can find that and our full-length podcast on our website.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and
these are being recorded. Just so everyone knows that this event today and last night's event is recorded, and they will be on our website.
Great. So hopefully people have pencil and paper. I will share.
I'm ready to go.
So hopefully, can you see this okay?
Yes.
I'm new to this format here.
And everyone, if at this point, if you want to share your camera, you can, your video. If you want to share your drawing with us, you're more than welcome. If you're shy and don't want to, that's okay too.
Yeah, just be you, have fun. This is just a fun exercise. Yeah, so as Margaret mentioned last night in our talk, that it's really difficult to find a snow leopard because they blend in with their environment so much. I was going to say that this here, if you're afraid of white paper, just think of it as a snow leopard in a snowstorm. This is what, they're so elusive, and just think about bringing it out a little bit and see what you can see. But I know the white paper for people who don't draw or even artists is very intimidating sometimes. So I have here a reference photo from Pixabay of a snow leopard. And what I do, and I hope you give this a try as we go along, when I try to loosen up with drawing, I sometimes just take a look at the drawing and then I just start drawing a line. It's kind of like the zen of drawing. I start drawing a line drawing without looking at what I'm drawing. I look at the picture and like I may start at the ear and kind of work my way around. You don't get a pretty drawing, but you do get, sometimes it's fun. Sometimes you can turn it into a character for if you're doing illustration for children's books or something like that. And as you do this, you get better, believe it or not. But I thought I'd just show you an example. So I'm not going to look at what I'm drawing. I'm going to look at the face of the snow leopard, and I'm just going to start at its ear. And you can do the same. Take a look at the picture and not what I'm drawing, and just kind of go around the face and try to get, just kind of follow the lines. You're not going to match up and have it be like one continuous thing. It's kind of wonky. You got to be sure. But then, I don't know if you can see that, you end up with something kind of like that. But it kind of helps loosen you up a little bit and kind of takes the fear of the white paper away. But yeah, I don't know how much time we have, but I was just going to go through some basic starting points that I do when I'm looking at a drawing like this. So there are many ways to start drawing, like sometimes I'm doing this for a friend. You can grid it out and then transfer that grid to another piece of paper for enlargement, or you can trace it. But I like to think, like this is like a journal drawing, like maybe I'm a biologist sitting out in the field and I just want to capture some quick features of what I see. So these are kind of quick sketches like you would do in a journal sitting out in the field if you were lucky enough to have a snow leopard sit with you long enough to be able to draw it. But once you start doing it, you can pay attention. Take a look at what you're looking at. Like look at a snow leopard's face is very round. They've got shorter ears than other cats, and they have a really wide nose area between the eyes. They've got these black spots, on the corners of their mouths where their chin goes. And I think this is just a good way of observing, the animals that you love. So anyways, to get started, what I usually do is just turn it into shapes. Like, there's a circle for his face. So just draw a circle. And then I divide that, I make a cross into the face, kind of where like the center of the face is, where the center of the eyes would be. This top one is like a forehead. And down here would be where the nose maybe starts, or the tip of the nose goes. So you have the basic shape, and then I can draw in a triangle for the nose. Kind of like that. And then you get a spot like for the eyes, or first I have to draw in this area here. They've kind of got a wide bridge on their nose. And that kind of gives you an idea where the eyes are going to go. The eyes are going to go on either side of this little box. And then you can draw in the eyes. And most big cats, you know, you think of like really round eyes. They do have round eyes, but they also sometimes at the top have like, it looks like it kind of sometimes goes straight across or it's dark. They have like a bridge there, like, you know, kind of helps with shading or maybe glare in the field. So then you can, once you get the eyes in, then you can start down here. You have the little section under the nose and you draw the mouth like that. And then, you know, these little black areas here, kind of in the corner, that kind of marks where the cheek goes. And then you kind of shape in the little chin. And then you can go up here in this place right here at the top where that T is, kind of gives placement where their ears are going to be. Kind of draw their ear in. And of course, this is, you know, kind of fast, but. And then you notice that, you know, their ears, like right in here, they have, you know, their face is a little wider. So sometimes I just draw a little extra circle around like that. Of course, you know, this isn't going to be for any art gallery or anything like that. And what is unique, you know, what cats also have that you have to pay attention to is they have like these, you know, their foreheads are kind of furrowed like right in here. They have these muscles. So, you know, kind of coming up like that. I know this is really messy, but. And then this black, you can start getting in more detail where that black corner is kind of forming like their little snout area. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then noses, if you notice, you know, you can see like, it's almost like a little heart shape or V on top. So you can start, once you get the basic shape that you like, you can start adding in like, it almost looks like a wing. And then the nostrils here, the black part of the nostrils kind of look like upside down or paisleys or upside down sixes, is like John Muir Law says. So you can kind of draw, you can draw those in. And then you can get in more detail and add their eyeballs. And then, you know that this is furry if you do little slash marks like that. So this kind of gives you an idea for a face. And the reason why I do the T, like say you wanted him to be looking slightly off to the side. Sorry, are people drawing that? Sorry. I'm not good at this yet. But the reason why I draw the T there is, you know, it gives you perspective. Like this guy, he's not looking directly at us. So when you draw your circle, it's kind of a weird circle, sorry. So you want to put your T a little off center, and the eyes are going this way. And the chin is this way, or the chin is this way. So everything to the right of the center line is going to be slightly smaller. It's not going to be the same, you know, mirrored kind of image. It's, you know, it's going to be a little narrower the eye on the right is going to be a little smaller. So more of the nose, the triangle on the left is going to show more than it does on the right. And same with this line that you draw going up. And the eye is going to look a little smaller on the right-hand side. Does that make sense, I think? So then you can start filling in other detail. And the chin is kind of off-center too, or the little chin area here. But as you're drawing these, you know, you can pay attention to the little details of like how their fur is and you know, where the spots go, and you can start seeing different shadows along their faces, like these little muscles on their forehead and such that make them look like they're kind of perplexed. And they always have these little triangles above their eyes, like it's hooded. And cats, like most big cats, you know, have like a little white area underneath their eye too, to help maybe with reflection. But anyways, it looks a little cockeyed there. Sorry, it's really fast. But yeah, I mean, this is just a quick practice of a cat face, and you can get into more detail. How much of this should I do, Shavaun, do you think? Is anybody doing any of this? Does anybody want to show? I don't know how fast I'm going.
I didn't do it.
Let me see. Oh, I saw that, Shavaun. That was good.
Yeah, but my last one was better.
So, oh, are we doing some? Rebecca's got some down there.
This is my one with John Muir, and it was so much better. Today I'm not feeling I'm not doing very
Can
well.
I see it again, Rebecca? I'm sorry, I didn't, yeah. Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well done.
I mean, this is just, you know, a quick way to draw, I think, when you're, you know, just out in the field. And like this guy here, you know, to practice a body is also another challenge.
You know, it's so important. They identify these animals by their spots. And
right, yeah.
A lot of conservationists, wildlife biologists in the field keep huge journals. You know, they always have their book with them, and they're drawing these animals and counting the spots and you know, measuring them in order to identify each of the animals in the field.
Yeah, I think like spots along this little furlough here all are different. Like some of this guy has small spots around the face, but this guy has bigger, and you can tell like usually around the feet and the face, the spots are solid, but as you get over the body, they start turning into these rosettes, and then they're
like a jaguar.
Yeah.
You know, they use camera trap photographs to compare to see, you know, well, now is this the same animal that was by here a month ago?
Yeah.
And they collect scat and they do DNA studies. But sometimes that takes a long time because you have to send it off to a lab. Whereas if you can count how many spots are across the forehead, and does he have the V? Does he have the little notch in his ear?
Right.
You know, the different characteristics. And if the biologist can whip out his notebook and go, look, this is this cat, or this is the wolf. You know, it's a lot, sometimes it's a lot better than even a photograph. You know, human interaction with it is so important.
Right, yeah, and you can write notes, and yeah, you can keep track. And like this guy doesn't really show the full length of the tail, but I think their tails are as long as their bodies.
Yes. Now,
so they're
do you do
and
the
they're
body
like,
as a grid too? Or do you just do the head as a grid?
oh, as far as like the triangle?
Yeah.
No, for the body, I try to break up in a couple different ways. You can break it up into shapes, and like this guy here, I take a look at like just the line that he's forming along his back here.
Uh-huh.
And then you can kind of just start with that. Just, you know, make sure you leave room for his tail, like get a really long piece of paper. But, you know, you can kind of just start with the shape of his back coming down, you know, and then here you have his shoulder. So you can it kind of sticks up a little bit. You can kind of just circle that in, knowing that that's going to be a shape. This is his hind leg here. So you try to break that up into a shape.
Does anyone on Facebook have any questions for Marcia, or on Zoom? If you guys have any questions, you can go ahead and type them into the chat for Marcia, or you can type them right here on Facebook. I am monitoring it right now. I apologize earlier. It's really hard to monitor Zoom and Facebook at the same time, but I do have them both up right now. If anyone has any questions about drawing wildlife, in particular snow leopards, that they'd like to ask right now. Otherwise, Marcia, this is marvelous. Thank you. It's non-artists are intimidated about drawing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, artists are too.
I color in the background, you know, to shade it, so I'm not so intimidated by that background.
Yeah, I think whenever I'm faced with a white piece of paper, it's nerve-wracking, you know. And this is kind of a sample drawing I did earlier too. Like here you see the straight on, you know, it's looking straight on. The T is in the center of the face. Here's one where it's he's just slightly looking off to the right a little bit, you know. And then this is the body. But it's up to you. You know, sometimes it's easier for me to start with the face, you know, kind of get a face in.
I think cat faces are much easier to draw than human faces. The nose just blows me away. Human noses and mouths, I can't do it. Cat noses, I can draw all day long, but not human noses, not at all.
I know, it's tough. It's tough to do.
You know, I was talking about research, and there's a misconception about what conservationists do. And a conservationist does some research, but mainly they work with people. There is amount of camera trapping, you know, field cameras and monitoring, scat collection, and collaring. Not so much. Snow leopards are difficult to even find, let alone collar, but mainly it's working with the people to mitigate the conflict of a predator taking out wildlife, or taking out domestic animals instead of preying on the wildlife. And so there's a lot of work with communities where everybody needs to be at the table and talk about what they need, and coming up with new economic, financial means for people, rather than just being dependent on herding. And after we're done with this, I have a video I'm going to be showing you of what we were doing in the terms of research in the field before the pandemic hit. It's very, very hard to count snow leopards, next to impossible. And so what they determine, if they can figure out
should I stop sharing?
How well the flocks are doing, the prey species, then they can determine about how many snow leopards there are. And I have this great video. They started out in Colorado. It was Dr. Jackson, our director, and then Donna Hunter, biologist and conservationist, and his son, who's a videographer, and Munzog, our partner in Mongolia, and his son. And they started in Colorado using the drone technology with mountain lions. And then they went to Mongolia and they tested out the technology in Mongolia. Well, then COVID hit. So just this weekend, Dr. Jackson is going back to Colorado to work with Don Hunter with the technology. And then as soon as they can, they're going to go back to Mongolia and resume some of their studies there. But for conservationists, most of the work is done with people, not in research. It's working with people. But I'm going to go ahead and share this great video. I'm going to check and make sure we have sound. Yes, we have sound. And here we go.
We're running the mission. It is out there, which is fantastic. You know, this is kind of a dream come true. My name's Rodney Jackson, and I'm a wildlife biologist. I was born in South Africa, grew up in Zimbabwe. Looking back on all of this, known some of the challenges, I probably would not have got involved in it. But at the same time, I really say to anybody, if you're passionate, if you want to do something that you're really excited about, go for it. And you'll probably find a way to get to the other side and make a valuable contribution to it. So we are now looking at thermal cameras. These are temperature sensing cameras that hopefully will be able to detect the prey animals, whether they're moving or foraging.
It's difficult to assess snow leopards in the field, how many of them. And modern technology helps us with genetics and with the camera traps, but still it's expensive. If we would use drone with thermal cameras, then we can monitor trends of IBX population or Argadi population. So if IBX population is all grown and Argadi population number is grown, we would assume that snow leopard population will be doing well.
This stuff's worked more or less okay over in the States, and now we wanted to try it in real snow leopard country. So one of the big hurdles is just getting everything here and it's working. And this has never been tried before that I know of, so we're hoping for the best.
We have good technologies now coming out, like drones. But there is some difficulties like wind, weather situations, and batteries, other things. We are improving ourselves by year, day by day. So we need to walk with the technology also. That's the main thing I want to say. Use new technologies, use new methods.
wildlife-based walking transects now for almost 10, 12 years, and we wanted to compare the drone counts to the walking counts. I'm nervous. We've seen the transects on Google Earth, but we've never flown them, and they're about 4 kilometers long to over nearly 3 miles, I guess.
This is day one. Let's don't take a chance.
I know what to say. This morning we started earlier, just on 6 o'clock actually, arrived at site 4, transect number 4. The sun is coming up, it's good weather. We pretty well calm, at least at ground level, but there's probably 5-10 kph or maybe more up at 100 meters where it's flying. Other than that, the mission, it is out there, which is fantastic, this is a kind of a dream come true. Animals. Great, we have some animals, let's see them. Fantastic. But 3 of them moving.
They're gone now.
They're gone now. But we got some animals.
We got animals.
It was so cool.
They were moving down there. 3 little yellow specks. Whoa. Oh, man.
That is close. That is really close.
So
it's a little close for comfort.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Can you count again? I think 15.
15. I'm going to put
13 to 15.
13 to 15.
Between local people, because snow leopards are killing livestock, and if we build up the wild prey base, hopefully we can reduce the human-wildlife conflict. I would say to anybody, you're not going to make a lot of money, you're not going to necessarily break new ground, but you're going to help save a species that is really quite unique, and that needs more Mongolians, more Nepalis, more Indians, more Russians, Kyrgyz people to do the protection, and not, I feel very privileged having done the first study, but it really should be the indigenous, the up-and-coming biologists like Byra that should be doing this.
Not only biologists need to come together. You need to bring biologists together from different projects. Even you are working in different sites in Mongolia, and you need to collaborate very closely with local people. So these new methodologies should pass it by us to new generation and to have them better work, successful work.
Without the locals conserving the snow leopard, it's not gonna go well. It's a challenge for Mongolia. There's not not many people like wanting to be a conservationist. I will try my best to be a good wildlife conservationist, and then I hope my generations who is biologists will do the same.
That's just a great video that
very moving.
We are continuing to do research, even though conservation is more centered in people, economics, politics, anthropology. It's
who entered? Our Grand Canyon traveler. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Not all about research, but we are doing research. And there's Ashley has joined us, our vice president.
Hey everybody! Happy International Snow Leopard Day!
Yeah.
Happy day to you. Are you in Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I just got to Flagstaff, Arizona. We're launching on the Grand Canyon tomorrow for 21 days.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. It's so good to be here with you all today.
Yeah, exciting.
Great to see
Watch
you.
it on Facebook.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a great event last evening. Rodney was able to join us for a while, and then he had to scoot off to another meeting. And then I ironed out my Zoom sound issues last night. Zoom didn't like me. And today we've been having a wonderful class and learning how to draw snow leopards and talking about the book and readings and conservation.
Awesome.
Our next, Ashley, did you have anything you wanted to share with us before we move on to the last two videos for the day?
Well, we have a video to share that I was able to do today, but we can share it afterwards if you want to carry on.
All righty.
Yeah.
I do have, let's see if Zoom will cooperate. I do have some camera trap videos to share with you. And these don't all have sound. These come from Pakistan, from our partner, the BWCDO, Baltistan Wildlife Conservation Development Organization, from our partner, Ghulam Muhammad. And these are from Baltistan, Pakistan. Look at that tail.
Yeah, speaking of tails. Yeah.
We were enjoying this one last night. This little guy, you can see it's snowing. There goes the tail.
Yeah.
There goes the spraying. And poof, he's gone.
Takes a while for his tail to get out of the picture.
Yeah.
He's in good shape. He's quite chubby.
And let's see here. What do we have here? Oh, there goes another tail.
Yeah.
And then I do believe that there's someone up at the top of the screen.
Mm.
You could just see the feet.
Yeah. It's amazing how they blend into their environment.
Here we come.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to smell where they just sprayed. We lovingly call it P-mail. And
I love that paradox that you're looking at a really wild creature, but they've still got that domestic pussycat thing, and you sort of flip.
Oh, and they do their stretch.
Now this one, I want everyone, if you didn't see these yesterday, I want you to count how many snow leopards are here.
Love the grunts.
And her three, about 21-month-old youngest. And there is now great. I've never been there, but people say that the mountains, it's very quiet and the wind is loud. It almost hums. And I'll play that one again so that everybody can count. 4. Mom, maybe 1, maybe 2. Maybe 11, yeah. And all these short camera videos or videos are on our website. For that. And of course, this will be recorded. So if you're on the website. And that is all.
But those babies look almost bigger than Mama did in a way. They're really well fed.
Yeah, probably almost 2 years old.
Wow, that's amazing.
About ready to go off on their
about,
own.
21, 22 months. So
yeah.
About the same age as the ones in last night's reading that Oriel Alamany went back and saw the second year.
Yeah.
So did anyone have any questions in Facebook or on our chat here on Zoom that they wanted to ask Marcia or Margaret or Ashley, now that we have her here with us?
Looks like you got out of the wind, Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley, are you hoping to go to Ladakh or Nepal in the coming year now that we're out of the COVID cage to a fairly large extent?
Yeah, that's a great question, Margaret. Yes, we're hoping to resume field work next year. So we're looking at going to Nepal in the springtime and possibly to India earlier in spring. But it will all be dependent on travel regulations at the time. But we are planning to get out to Annapurna to continue to work with the Narfu community in springtime, and hopefully be able to have another Land of Snow Leopard gathering by the end of next summer. It's been, we've not been able to do one for the last year, this year and last year. So, but yes, hopefully, looks like it might be possible given the vaccination rollout in the countries.
That's right. And India's opening up, and as Shavaun said last night, KarmaQuest, there are some tours going, and there's some other ones from India.
And Wild World India too is doing one this winter. Yeah.
It's I think it's going to be quite a busy winter season for them. Good for the homestays, keeping things rolling with safety. I keep saying, wear your mask, wear your mask. I think
absolutely.
Out in the wilderness areas, it's completely safe. But of course, one village that I visited when I went to Ladakh, they did have one death there, which was very upsetting. But, there's only about 9 farmhouses there. So the virus knows no boundaries, but they are upping the vaccination level everywhere. And so I think it'll be how it's being managed, not total eradication, but manageable enough so that tourism and wildlife conservation, the economies can get rolling again. There's a lot.
It's a delicate balance, but I know that they'll be able to, I believe they'll be able to resume this next year and hopefully do it in a way that it's equitable for the community, so everybody is able to have visitors. That's how the homestay program works, as you know. And so yeah, they've missed 2 years now. So
well, we've come to the close of our event for today. Ashley, did you have a video you wanted to share?
Sure. Can you make me co-host?
Yes, I can. And then we'll be scooting. There we go. All right, I've made co-host.
Sure. I was recently with Maria Asunova, our director of Land of Snow Leopard Network, and Vincent Funjuk Lama. We did some workshops in the Bay Area recently in the last couple of weeks. We were able to be together, and we put together a message for everybody I'd like to share.
Such a cute picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing's playing though.
I wonder if she has the sound thing like we had.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, Zoom keeps changing their their commands, so it's really hard to keep up with what they're up to. Ashley, we don't see anything except a picture. Yeah, I don't think it's playing.
That's great. Maria made it back to the States.
Oh, and we lost her. Oh, well.
Maybe it was too much where she's at.
Well, I'm once I do get that, I will I'll post it up on our social media and on our website. But I want to thank everyone for coming today. I want to thank you, Margaret, so much for your readings last evening and telling about your experiences and your conversation. And Marcia, I want to thank you for filling in for my readings and for your wonderful drawing class today and for sharing your experiences and for making this a memorable International Snow Leopard Day. And both of the recordings of these events will be on Facebook as the lives. And I'll let her back in. Well, there she went again. There you go. And I'll make sure that all the recordings are on our website. Ashley, are you unable to share it or?
You have to make me, I'm not sure I can do it from my phone. It's saying I need access again. So that's okay. We can do it afterwards if you want to wrap up.
So I want to thank everyone again for coming. Thank you, ladies, so much for being wonderful co-hosts. It was fun.
Thank you for being a wonderful host.
Sorry to get you up so early this morning, Margaret. Margaret's already on Sunday.
I'm an early bird anyway. You like nature, you got to get up early to see it.
Yeah.
But now, again, I want to remind everyone, if you want a copy of Searching for the Snow Leopard, I put it in the chat and on Facebook. Just go to our website at www.snowleopardconservancy.org and go to the online store. If you're international, then you can obtain it from your local bookseller through Amazon or Barnes & Noble. But for those of you who order it this weekend, I am going to include a little vinyl sticker. I think we had some orders last night that'll go out to you with your autographed copy. And
awesome.
So anyway, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for putting this together.
Yeah, thanks, Shavaun.
It's a wrap.
Bye, Ashley. Have a great hike.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for all you do for Snow Leopards.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Always. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good night. Yeah.
All
or a good day,
ladies,
Margaret.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Mwah.
Lots of love.
Yeah, thanks for all you do. Enjoy.
We're going out to lunch. I wish I could treat you all to a nice lunch out here.
Oh, no kidding. Siobhan's going to dinner though. She's